What is up, guys? It's Sir Boy Speed here, and today we're doing the Position 4 tier list. We got it all lined up. I'm going to give you guys everything you need to know about all the Position 4 heroes, what you should be picking in solo queue, what you shouldn't, and let's get into it. No need to waste any time. But to waste your time, you guys should sign up to the Gameleap website. Right now, I'm posting videos there almost daily. I just made a Nature's Prophet support guide, I just made a match analysis and a draft analysis for the recent Team Spirit versus Entity series that went on. I'm making a lot of different videos there that I just don't make on YouTube. If you're trying to get to the next level, you want to gain a lot of MMR, click the link down below, go to the description, go sign up, and I'll see you guys there. Alright, getting into the E tier heroes. The heroes I like the least in the Position 4 role. We first off have Caudle. Caudle has been nerfed a lot. The only option you have to make this hero viable, in my opinion, well, okay, maybe there's two. Number one, you can TP people using your first facet, which gives you recall. And so the reason why this one's kind of good is you can TP two allies. And when you do that, it actually gives them the chakra and gives them the CDR. So you can kind of like TP on your ally, give them chakra, and then give them chakra again. Because the recall gives them chakra and you can give them chakra. So you can give like infinite CDR to heroes like Tiny or Ember or infinite mana like Storm. And it's kind of cool. However, you have to have a ton of synergy, the right heroes, and the laning stage sucks. And the scaling is very hard to execute on. So I would not recommend it at all. I would absolutely put this hero in E tier. Don't play it unless you have some super synergy. Then we have Lion. I just think compared to like Shaman, for instance, his counterpart, he's not good. I don't like his numbers. He got nerfed really hard on Impale back in the day. Just stay away from this hero. It's super not worth it. Even if you're going to go melee Lion mode, which looks terrible to me. I don't see the value. Next off, we have Bane, who, I don't know, this hero is just like, it can't wave shove. Its laning stage is kind of good, but it's better as a 5 because as a 4, it can't really chase people in the lane, right? Which sometimes is okay, you just zone them out and play for the pull camps, but not a huge fan of Bane. Don't love the scaling, don't love the hero in this patch, I would stay away from it. Then we have Willow, who was like S tier a moment ago, and then they literally shot her in the face. It was unbelievable. I've never seen something so egregious. Basically what they did is they made it where you can't use Bedlam on allies. And when you can't use Bedlam on allies, which is a buff they gave her a while back, it makes the hero way worse because you have to go in as a squishy support. That's not fun. If you're going to play this hero now, I recommend taking the facet Throwing Shade, which makes you deal bonus damage if you're in Shadow Realm. Like a lot, it's like 30%, it's a lot. And so you could try to do that. You have to basically play for solo kills, but I'm not a huge fan of this hero anymore. I think it super fell off. Then we have Mirana, who I think with Solar Flare is kind of cool. It's definitely interesting. And just to really put it out there, guys, there's no hero in Dota you can't play. Dota is actually a very well-balanced game for the most part. And so all of these heroes, like even the E and D tiers, if you want to specialize in them, you can. I'm just putting that out there because a lot of people think that you can't, and they think that in these tier lists, like if you pick the E heroes or you have them on your team, you insta-lose. That's not true. You're just more likely to lose. But getting back to the point of Mirana, this hero's laning stage isn't good, her scaling's not great, I wouldn't pick her. Earth Spirit is like the discount Nyx Assassin or Clockwork or Tiny. This hero is just like, why in the world would you ever pick Earth Spirit? It's really hard and the payoff isn't even there. Even if you're like the best Earth Spirit, you're not even gonna have more impact than some Tiny just tossing shit. Alright, then we have Wind Ranger, just okay. I think the hero is way too hard to play and the scaling isn't there. Then we have Enchantress, who I really like as a hero, but people just struggle to play it, and so I have to keep it in the D tier. Even though I think Enchantress easily is a B or an A tier hero, if you're a specialist, it requires micro, you gotta know what items to buy, and you have to know how to scale. You gotta know how to split push, get farm. And people just can't do that. It's just something the majority of players struggle with. Then we have Tusk, who once again, it's just a higher execution, lower impact version of a lot of these like B or A tier melee heroes. And that's the problem. It's not a terrible hero. It's very good in lane with certain heroes, like Razor, maybe like a Wind Ranger off lane, right? Any of these range heroes, Visage, that's a nasty lane. And so it can dominate lanes in the right matchups, but then the scaling isn't that good, and the team fighting is very clunky. Most people cast the spells wrong, they use Snowball too aggressively, they miss the shards. Once again, compared to these other heroes that you kind of just walk up to someone and nuke them, it's way harder and the payoff is not there. Then we have Nature's Prophet, way too hard to play. Marcy, I think once again, compared to the other heroes, not good enough. In certain matchups like Phoenix, she can kill the egg and that can be really nice, and she can be a lane dominator very similar to Tusk. The problem is with heroes like Marcy and Tusk, if you're not pairing them with the right heroes, I just don't think it's worth it playing them. Because standalone in the mid game, they're like too hard to play. They require items most of the time, like Blink or Drums, or in Marcy's case, frequently BKB. And if you don't have a BKB on Marcy, in some games you just hop in, you get frostbit by a CM, you just die from full. Then we have Monkey King, who's actually a really cool 4 right now. You can snipe couriers like crazy with Simeon's Stride. You can get around the map, you can place really good vision, and I think that in the pro scene, this hero is more of like a B or even a low A tier hero. I actually believe that. And I hate to keep repeating myself, but it's just one of those heroes where until you master it and you get like super good at Dota, it's just a C tier hero. If you're not doing all the little things that you can do, it's just this hero where you're going to join a team fight, click some shitty stun, maybe miss your slow, and then have like almost no impact with your ult. But if you buy an Atos into Gleipnir or something along these lines, you can have a little impact if you put down good wards and snipe couriers. Then we have Gyro, just doesn't scale well enough, but his laning stage is good. Disruptor got nerfed too hard. Muerta, I just think that the hero is not in the best position. It's kind of cool with this like Ofrenda thing where you can like die and then respawn right in the lane because you put it down. It is cool and it can make your laning stage very explosive, but compared to some of the other explosive like nuke heavy position 4s, I don't think the hero's there. Then we have Rubik, who I've been seeing some people pick, but in general, I'm not a Rubik fan. I think the hero is unreliable. You have to have good matchups, so you have to late pick it in pubs, which most people don't do. They tend to first pick support. And I think blind picking Rubik is just not a good idea, and I would completely stay away from it. It's not that the hero is terrible. I think the hero conceptually is just difficult, and you need good matchups. Then we have Phoenix, who's definitely a fine position 4. It's gotten nerfed a lot over the recent patches. Basically, they nerfed Dying Light, which was its facet that was really OP. And then they nerfed its spirits early on. And this hero is just difficult to play. We have Shadow Demon. This hero's fine. It's okay. It was like mega broken or mega meta, and then the meta shifted and SD fell off. We have Zeus. His numbers got nerfed. I actually love this hero as a support conceptually, but its numbers got hit a little bit too hard, and so I keep it in the C tier. Then we have Terrorblade, who has this really cool meme of clicking Facet Condemn and then sundering people and one-shotting them. And I've seen kind of the shift away from this like buying an armlet and buying a Dagon and one-shotting into people just buying like drums, treads, Dragonlance, Solar, and having like good utility, good right click. And then like if you happen to use Sunder in a team fight, great. You can just kill people in a team fight because you're Terrorblade, right? And like you probably are just going to get Sunder off. So just buy a bunch of stats, Raindrops, Wand, Drums, Dragonlance, and just play like some normal semi-carry with this really strong facet and go ham. And in the late game, if you want, you can like scale into the meme build. Then we have Grimstroke. I hate playing with this hero. The laning stage is so bad. The scaling is okay, but you need a lot of synergy. Next up, we have Winter Wyvern, who's kind of a cool laner. It has some good matchups against tanky heroes, and if you're against a lot of physical damage, this hero is completely overpowered. But if you're not against these things, it's a little bit underwhelming. It's very hard to play. The spellcasting is super difficult, and so I'd stay away from it. Then we have Pugna, who has a very cool facet in siphoning ward. Basically, when you put down Nether Ward, 25% of damage dealt is given back to your mana and to your HP. And I'm actually a huge fan of this facet. It's really OP, as it makes you stupid tanky and sustainable throughout the game by just clicking Nether Ward. And this hero is just a good laner. It can take towers, but they did nerf it in the 7.36 patch in actually 2 ways, which is kind of a shame. I think that's the main reason it fell off. It was really broken, and then they nerfed the Q and the W. But its innate is cool. You can cast spells and use items while channeling. Then finally we have Io. Holy Lock and Mech Io is not bad. It's pretty good, but once again, you gotta pair it with the right things. So why in the world would you pick this hero on a pub when you could just pick one of the other healers like Undying or Treant, who are far more reliable? Next up, we have Sven. I had to put him in here even though he's more of a 5 hero. He's definitely a good 4. It's simple, guys. With Heavy Plate, you give a 240 physical barrier to your teammates. With 15 armor, you have a stun. Your base stats are pretty good, so your laning stage is not bad. And your attacks deal 17% bonus damage to stun allies. So you can pair it with like stuns in lane, and it's pretty funny, you hit kind of hard. That's more of a meme, I wouldn't focus on that too much. But yeah, you just click Warcry, click stun, you buy your shard, and it makes Warcry undispellable. And an undispellable 21 armor, let me tell you guys, it's pretty good. 22% movement speed and 21 armor, undispellable, 240 barrier. It's not bad. It's really quite good. Alright, then we have Earthshaker. This hero has a lot of impact in the mid game, but the laning stage isn't good enough to be an A tier hero. Then we have Techies, who's a pretty solid hero overall, and you can honestly do, there's so much to talk about with this hero, I'm not going to cover it in a tier list, but you can go Spoon Stash, you can go Secret Sauce to do a lot of explosive damage early game, you can like stash up a ton of branches and bracers and neutral items with this facet, or you can just go like the normal attack range for attack speed and just click people. There are a lot of angles with Techies right now. This hero is quite reliable like it always is, just does everything, so definitely a decent pick. Then we Avenge, just buy an axe. I know you're a support, just buy an axe. You can literally go Brown Boots axe, Treads axe, anything like this, like Bracer axe, Wand axe, and you're gonna have a lot of impact in the mid game. And the laning stage, even though it recently got nerfed because they nerfed the Q, it's still solid. You can still hit really hard, and you can take either of the facets where you deal bonus damage for every creep the enemy has killed, or you can just be the like really high attack speed Venge, which is what I personally recommend. Then we have Witch Doctor, who I think as a 4 is not Voodoo Festration anymore. You just take Headhunter, you take your Q and your heal, and you just heal people, buy a Holy Locket, and click heal. Then we have Pudge. This hero got nerfed recently, otherwise it would be A tier right now, and I'm super serious about that. But Flare's hooks still does a ton of damage. However, they nerfed it where it doesn't give bonus hook speed anymore, so it's a little bit harder to hit at max range, but if you do hit your hooks, you're gonna kill people and it's gonna feel really good. Next up, we have Weaver, who got nerfed recently, but it didn't really matter. Basically, they nerfed Sakuchi mana cost, they nerfed E damage a little bit, they gave him like less base strength, they gave him 1 less strength on his 10 talent, but it doesn't really matter. You take Skitter Step Facet. Some people take Hive Mind. I've seen a lot of people take Hive Mind actually. And this one gives you XP when you swarm people, and it's pretty cool. Early on in the patch, I thought it was broken, but I've leaned more towards the Skitter Step just because it helps you get around the map and split push and kill people early game. Like, I prefer it. But basically, yeah, you just scale by buying Vessel and then killing people with Swarm plus Vessel. And then you buy Gleipnir and you just click people with Gemini Attack. And if you get lucky to get your shard through Tormentor, with Maelstrom, you can just clear creep waves by Sakuchiing through the creep wave. All right, next up we have Batrider. Very, very good laner. I think that the hero is very difficult to play, and so if you are going to play this hero, it's simple. You need to dominate your lane. I actually think I recommend taking Arsonist. I'm not kidding. You deal Sticky Napalm deals damage to structures, and you can kill buildings. I think it's really cool. Stoked is more consistent, but I'm telling you, this Arsonist facet, I've seen it a couple times. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. So yeah, you take Sticky Napalm, it's only 22 mana, you dominate your lane with W and Sticky Napalm, you farm with Firefly, so the skill build should be 2-1-4, and then you buy a Blink and a Force Staff and an Aether Lens and a BKB, and you just lasso people off cooldown, bring them to your team, and win the fight that way. Next up we have Snapfire, who I've seen become very popular. People are taking the E at level 1 and Ricochet, and it does a ton of damage. Then your hero just kind of kills people. It's a good nuker, it's follow-up damage. I usually say that this hero is very hard to play, like the spells are kind of hard to hit, like Cookie's hard to hit. And I will say, try to pick it and tell your team to like pick stuns. If you compare this hero with like an Atos or a stun, it has way more impact. But now it's just better than ever because you take Little Shredder with Ricochet and the laning stage is insane. Like this hero just cooks people because it also has this buckshot facet where you deal 25% more damage with your autos, but you can miss. But that miss still does 60% damage. So it's like, I'm telling you guys, it can be insane what this hero does early on. Next up, we have Skywrath, who I actually think is pretty freaking good. People are really overlooking this hero. He has 2 really cool facets, one that gives him a barrier and one that gives him CDR. But I definitely think that the CDR is better and you just button mash with CDR. It's called Staff of the Scion, or Scion, I have no idea. I really don't know. And he reduces all ability cooldowns by 0.1 seconds when he hits his spells. So that includes every tick of your ulti. That includes all of the units hit by your W because it's AoE damage. And when you buy eventually an Ags and your abilities hit multiple units, your CDR goes crazy. And so essentially what I recommend on this hero is you buy mana boosts and then just buy a ton of Null Talismans, which got buffed and at minute 25 are going to be huge. And then buy Aether Lens into Ags. You can also buy Atos if you want to solo kill people. That's not bad. I think it's solid. And essentially the skill build is you're going to take W for the laning stage at level 1, Q at level 2. If you need silence, you can take it early on. You're going to max your Q. And when you max the Q, you just like lower the cooldown of everything else. And eventually when you get your ulti, oh, by the way, it instantly kills illusions now, which against illusions like PL, who's pretty meta, you just counter PL. Like, it's pretty funny. If he ends up going on you or goes on an ally, you can just save them with your ulti. It's like what in the world? It just kills illusions constantly. And so yeah, this Aether Lens Ags build, you just button mash abilities and you have innate Spell Eye Steal. So this hero can just be really, really tanky. Also, its talents are really great. You can get Mana Regen or Arcane Bolt Multiplier at level 10. One does damage, one gives you mana. They're both really good. Ancient Seal cooldown at level 15 to me is a no-brainer. At level 20, I think Ancient Seal increased magic damage is better. And at level 25, both are just solid. One scales in terms of Spell Lifesteal and Arcane Bolt, and the other one's just a ton of Mystic Flare damage. Next up is Elder Titan, and you either win the laning stage with Deconstruction or you win it with Momentum. Then you click Astral Spirit in the mid game with this Momentum facet, which is probably the one you should be taking. Buy Phase Boots, Windlace Ags, and you just beat people up. And finally, we have Veno, and you can do a lot of things on Veno. You can just be normal and like play a normal Veno, take Patient Zero and like spread the plague, or you can take Plague Carrier and spread the plague in a different way, and just put these wards on yourself and jungle, get like a stupid early mech. And I don't even mean jungle from minute 1. I just mean like in the mid game, like minute 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way to minute whatever. You just put these wards on your head and you just farm items. You buy your team a Drums, a mech, a Greaves, a Solar, a Crimson. You just get stupid tanky. You click your ulti on people, which will still spread. You deal a ton of damage and you buy useful items. All right, getting into the A tier. First off, we have Shaman, who in the pro scene I think is like a C or a D or an E tier hero. I hate this hero the higher MMR you go because people cancel the shackles, they deal with the serpent wards, The Serpent Wards feed a ton of gold unless you're taking the massive Serpent Ward, which I don't think is better because, like, I just don't think it's better. I think it's probably better just to still have Cluster Cluck. I'm not even sure about that. Maybe it is just better to take this massive Serpent Ward and click it on tower so people can't easily deal with him and get like a ton of gold. Because that's the problem. It just gives like a ton of gold. And to be fair, if you kill the massive Serpent Ward, you get a lot of gold. It's like 100 and something, 175, 150. I don't know the exact number, but yeah, this hero's win rate is just way too high in low MMR for me not to put it in the A tier. I would love not to, because I really believe that the better and better and better you get, the worse this hero gets, because like it's low movement speed, it dies in the laning stage to coordination. Problem is you don't coordinate, guys. If you don't coordinate, you can't kill Shaman because he's gonna shackle you and he's gonna win 1v1s. This hero's really good in 1v1s, but he's bad in 2v2s or 2v1s, and you gotta punish him. And then in the mid game, just like stay together, like cancel the shackles. Like, oh my god. This hero got giga nerfed. It lost all of its spell amp on Hex. The hero was, I really believe that the hero was S tier not too long ago when the Hex had spell amp and it's 10 talent of spell amp. And they just got rid of that. He has this really cool Shackles total damage talent at 10. And like, I get that the hero can scale with like Ags and Refresher and take buildings. And I think that's part of the reason the hero has a good win rate. It lets you kill buildings in the mid to late game without putting someone else on the high ground. And trust me, that is good. I do think it's very useful in that regard. But like, if the game is normal and people aren't just like feeding on high grounds and like letting you go high ground in some stupid way, it just doesn't have the impact. I know I'm hating on an A tier hero. It's like, Speed, why would you put it here? Because it does have to be here. Because it lets you in your average pub, when your team forces you to go high ground, put a snake down and kill the building without overcommitting. Then we have Clockwork, who I still think is an A tier hero after the nerfs. Basically, its laning stage is way worse now, but in the mid game, the cogs still deal and mana burn a ton. It's really crazy. Battery Assault still helps you farm, you still scale, you still give vision, you still initiate. So yeah, the hero in the mid game is still as good as it used to be. It's really obnoxious, and you just trap people in the cogs, burn all their mana, and it is powerful. Then we have Bounty Hunter, who has some pretty cool facets. You can either take Cut Purse, where you can steal gold when targeting heroes with your abilities. It's not a ton, but honestly it adds up in the late game. Or you can take Through and Through, which is this really cool facet where Shuriken Toss does the slow and damage to everything it passes through. And it's really good for farming and pushing out waves. It gives this Bounty Hunter hero the ability to actually clear waves and farm, and that's huge. Like, it's really, really nice when you can actually push waves on Bounty Hunter. And you buy Ags, and all of a sudden your Shuriken, it increases the cast range and applies Janata on hit. So you can, like, Janata through the waves as well. So it's just really, really good at farming and pushing out waves. And so, yeah, you click track on people. This ability also just, like, gives damage amp now. You just give 18% damage amp on whoever you track. Like, it did just get nerfed in the C patch really hard, but it's just insane. Like, 18% damage amp is just like some insane number. Even 6% in the early game, like, that adds up. So this hero is no joke. It scales like a beast. You buy an Axe, you can farm like crazy. It's just a good hero now. Like, I'm a big believer in Bounty Hunter. I think it's easily a nature hero. Then we have Treant. Even after getting nerfed like 18 patches in a row, this sapling facet, which I guess was a buff recently, is just good. It's AoE healing. You buy a Holy Locket mech or shard. They just nerfed the shard, so maybe you shouldn't buy the shard. It doesn't give movement speed now. But yeah, this hero is just a heal bot. It's tanky. The team fight is OP. It's easy to do. It can farm. Like, it gives 10 armor to allies on a 30-second duration on a 15-second cooldown. Like, Treant just does it all. This hero is just reliable AF. Like, then we have Undying. I really believe that this hero's support is like super strong right now for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's Facet Ripped, where when you cast Soul Rip on allies, it increases your strength by a percentage of your strength. It's 10% of your strength, which, trust me guys, you get a lot of strength in this hero because Decay steals strength, and then your ulti increases your strength, gives you a strength multiplier. So basically what you do, in my opinion on this hero, is you go QW. You put 1 point in Tombstone at level 2 for the laning stage to try to get like First Blood or whatever, and then you just leave it alone. Like, you just leave it alone. And that might sound crazy, but like, it's good, guys, because this Soul Rip ability is insane. It's up to 450 healing. With Holy Locket, that's 33% more. It's nearly a 600 heal. It actually is basically a 600 heal, which is insane if there's max units. And it got buffed not too long ago where Undying is counted as one of those units, which is really nice. So that helps the hero a lot. And so 6-second cooldown, 600 heal is just insane. You just buy a Holy Locket. It's just mech Holy Locket. And you max QW. And then if you need to heal, when you heal allies, which is what you should be doing, you give them a percentage of your strength every single time. It's a 10-second duration, 6-second cooldown. So you can do it twice. It's just crazy. Like, this hero is just really, really good. Its facets are good. It gets a free respawn. Its innate is just solid. Like, this hero, in my opinion, 4 or 5 is really broken. Then we have Tiny. This hero is like, I can't believe it's back at the top. It's so funny. This hero was getting nerfed and killed, and I would have put it in like literally bottom tier, and they're just like, here's Crash Landing. If you don't know what it is, it's his facet where when you toss people, the person you toss doesn't take bonus damage, oddly enough. It's whatever gets hit by the toss takes a stupid amount of damage. So if you want to kill people, you throw things at them, you don't throw them. That's what you need to understand. But this hero's movement speed got killed, his abilities got like nerfed heavily, its mana cost on Avalanche just got increased by a lot in the A patch. So did Toss. Like, they're really trying to kill this hero's mana. They nerfed E. Like, they nerfed so much about the hero. But it's just like, it doesn't matter because they gave him movement speed bonus on Grow, which is nice. That helps the hero a lot. And then Toss gets bonus damage when you skill your ult. It does a ton of damage. And with this facet, it literally, like, nearly one-shots waves. At some point, I think at level 12, it does. Now you just toss things. That's it. You just toss. And then the hero's A tier. And if you think I'm kidding, I'm not. Like, you just have 2 stunts and you throw people and you don't die and you push in waves. And eventually you can throw people out of position, which is always OP. Finally, we have Nyx Assassin. Yes, top of the A tier, we have Nyx Assassin. You can do 2 different things. For the first 15 seconds of Vendetta with your Scuttle Facet, you can be hasted and have unobstructed pathing, which is actually really good. I'm a big fan of this one. It's very easy to flank people with this facet, with the Vendetta, so I love this one. Or you take mana burn, where damage from your spells and items burn enemies' mana, which is not bad. Percentage of current mana burn is 15, 20, 25, and 30%, which is really, really good. Only instances of 100 or more damage will trigger mana burn, though. So basically, just by casting abilities on people, you just burn a ton of their mana. And that includes items, so when you buy Dagon, it also burns their mana. So yeah, I mean, this hero is just insane. Either of the facets are really, really good. One helps you, like, flank people extremely easily. One is just an insane amount of mana burn. It is current mana burn, so if they're low on mana, it's not just going to, like, remove their mana pool. But if they're full mana, it just, like, destroys their mana pool. Completely destroys it. In the laning stage, it just annihilates people's mana pool. Like, stunning them just grease their mana pool. And this hero can just farm now because they made it in the recent patch where the W, Mind Flare, one-shots creeps. Yeah, just one-shots creeps. Flag bears, just one-shot them. Large creeps, one-shot them. Whatever it is, you just one-shot them. That's just part of the hero now. So you can just farm a Dagon and then one-shot supports. This hero is just really good in pubs. What can I say? All right, getting to the S tiers, we have Hoodwink, who doesn't even have a great win rate on Dota buff, but I'm not putting this hero here. This hero is insane. Tree Bounce, Trick Shot, the fast, it just makes the laning stage OP. You just have to find opportunities where someone's isolated or next to their teammate, and you click Acorn Shot, and this ability does literally 1 billion damage. I'm not kidding. The scaling is insane because this hero can one-shot waves at some point, or nearly one-shot waves. You provide a ton of utility in the early game with your ulti being a 45-second cooldown nuke, for 550 damage nuke. So you just destroy people. Its shard is broken. It's 20% incoming spell damage. So you am damage by 20%. Scurry is an insane ability, even though you're not getting bonus cast range. 12-second cooldown on max level. 5-second duration. 20% bonus movement speed. This hero's innate is just insanely good. It's just evasion. It scales with your ulti, but at level 1, if you're near trees, you have 15% evasion. Just casual. Just casual. In the laning stage, you won't even notice it's happening. You'll just get gone on, or you're trading with the 4, and occasionally a tree next to you breaks, and that just means that it tanked an auto attack for you, for fun. And so yeah, this hero can just have evasion. It's just Phantom Assassin. Who knows why? I don't. But it just is. Its talents are broken. Bushwhack cooldown at 10, Acorn Shot bounces at 15. 20 aren't very good, Armor Corruption's okay, it lets you scale, and Acorn Shot charges at 25 is completely OP, it's really, really strong. Then we have Spirit Breaker to top it all off. You take Bull Rush Facet, you're unkillable, you're really, really fast. You can drag waves in the laning stage if the lane is hard, or you can just get in the way. And what else is there to say? Herd Mentality is just OP. Like, if this hero didn't have Herd Mentality, it would probably be B or C tier, but it does. Herd Mentality, if you don't know what it is, the hero on your team whose level is lower than anyone else's gains 50% more XP. So it just helps that hero in the early game who's low level get more XP. Just lets them level up a little bit faster. And that matters a ton because it's going to help heroes get level 6. That extra spell point that maybe tips a team fight. In the laning stage, it's going to help some hero hit level 3, level 2, slightly faster. And these spikes matter. They just add up. Then from there, I mean, there's other things to talk about as well. Charge, 13-second cooldown. It's good. Bolo, 16-second cooldown. Really low. Your ulti has been buffed and buffed and buffed. It got nerfed in the C patch, funny enough, but its bonus damage is 350 at max level, which was a recent change in 7.36, and the cooldown is only 35 seconds in the late game. This ability is insanely low cooldown. It just got nerfed in the C patch, otherwise this hero would be even more broken, but yeah, it's even lower cooldown. In terms of talents, it has Night Vision cooldown at 10, which is insane. Like, it's so much night vision. This hero sees everything. Bulldoze cooldown at 15, which is nasty good. An all damage barrier at 20, so strong. It just gives you a massive barrier. And then either greater bash damage, which is great at 25, or charge cooldown at 25, which is also nasty good. So this hero is just super reliable, easy to play, crazy broken innate, broken facet. It just got it all. So yeah, that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe to the channel, like the video if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Gameleap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!